It is the next day, and I am at the second market. It is extremely windy. I couldn't set up the way I wanted to because my stuff fell over twice, and the wind is pushing this way instead of this way. So I have to be very careful of my stuff, including my tent, which I hope I have enough weights on it. I don't know what it is about over here at this museum, but it's, I guess, always windy for some reason. And it's mainly because it's just a museum behind me. It's no buildings surrounding it, so it doesn't like cut off the wind. But I'm gonna try my best to record what I can because I don't want my stand to fall over and crack my phone, well, my dad's phone. So I'm gonna try and record what I can for you guys. Maybe the wind will die down some as the day goes because it's supposed to be 75 degrees today. But I'm gonna stop talking because I don't want to copyright and they're playing music kind of loud in the background. So, but I am here in day two, second market, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we do good today. This wind is not letting up at all. It is very windy and now it's cold and I don't even have a jacket. So I'm hoping that it calms down some. The sun did leave, so it's not nearly as warm as it was. So hopefully it calms down some. But there is a lot of noise around me and I did get my, oh, I'm talking about all the noise. I did get my first sale of the day, so I'm happy for that. It was a card diffuser, and she bought two. And sorry, I'm trying to fix my hair, but she bought two of them, and I hope she enjoys them. She really liked the smells. Something that I learned from her is that she's allergic to soy, so which I know a lot of people are allergic to soy. So she wanted to smell the candles, but she couldn't. But yeah, I'm just sitting here. It is 12:45, and I'll probably check in about 2 hours from now, maybe. And I'll try and get up and show you guys some of the market when I go to take a break. But I'm just trying to make sure nothing else blows over and falls and breaks. So yeah, I will see you guys in a little bit. Hi, how are you today? Feel free to smell anything you like at the table. I have candles here, wax melts in sachets, room sprays, and reed diffusers the other end. Hi, how are you today? Good, good. So if you have time, feel free to smell anything you like at the table. I have reed diffusers, room sprays, candles. Well, you know, you can also hang them in your room. So I hang mine on the doorknob of my bedroom. So when I go by, I just tip it 1, 2, and it scents up my room. I can smell it. So yeah. Do you need a bag?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You said the crimson, the car diffuser, right? The diffuser, the little one? Okay, you can tap whenever you're ready. You're welcome. Enjoy. All right, so I was actually going to say something, but I got that sale real quick. So actually, two sales. It is 3:30, and we have about 2 hours to go. 2 hours to go? Yeah, 2 hours to go. So I will probably check in a little bit later. If not, then I'll do everything in the recap. Hi, how are you today? Oh my gosh. My favorite, the one that has been the biggest pain in my butt to make, is Mahogany Nights. Mahogany Nights from this collection and Common Spa Day from this collection. The Common Spa Day is really cool in my name. That's the one when I'm having a rough time, I light that one and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one. See, I told you I'd get up and I'd buy one. Yay. Most like I want to support.
Thank you. You have candles, so you know how to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you make all of these yourself?
Yes. Everything on the table is made by these hands here. This is my second favorite.
How often are you here?
I
I like that one.
What do you want?
The second one that you
The Common Spa Day?
Can I get the minis that you use?
Yeah. Do you need a bag?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I will take the business card. I like this. We also have the
Thank you. Comes from a lot of years of self-work and still going. So that's where all of this came from. Yes. Okay, so tap whenever you're ready. Enjoy the candle, you too. Hi, how are you today? Welcome back, everyone. So it is that time of the video. It is time to do the recap of Sunday's market. I have my notes right here, which isn't a lot because, well, we'll get into it. And I also have my phone here with what I did for, or how I did for the day. So without me rambling on, let's jump into this recap. I ended up doing this the following day from the previous market. As you saw in the last video, I actually had the weekend back to back markets. And I was trying to decide on whether, before I get fully into the recap, I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to join them together or to just do them separately. But I figured, you know what? This market needs its own video, so I went ahead and I did it separately. Alright, so this market that I did on Sunday, it's now 2 days later that I'm doing the recap. This market was for Brooklyn Museum Market, and it ran from 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. I have to remember the times because I have so many markets this month that the times are just all over the place. So it was from 10:30 to 5:30 p.m. Now, I literally did not have any time to do any prep for you guys other than Sunday morning when I woke up at 6 a.m. I made one peaceful Paloma diffuser because I had sold out of them the day before, as well as the cucumber Oasis one, sold out of both of them. But I was only able to make peaceful Paloma because I had the labels for it, and I had ran out of my paper that I use for my labels. I use online labels, and I ran out of paper and it wasn't coming until Monday. So I had to leave cucumber behind, and I ended up making one peaceful paloma because I already had one already made, and I made two of the new crimson bloom diffusers. Sorry, diffusers that are now a part of the line. But I ended up making those and labeling everything and getting them in their boxes the day of the market before I had to leave out. Now, all my stuff was it already upstairs? It was definitely already upstairs because I did not make it in time to go to the storage unit. I bought everything downstairs probably around 8 o'clock. I had to be there at 9:15, the latest. The earliest. And I got into the Uber and I headed over to Brooklyn Museum. Now, it always says one thing on Google Maps, but in reality, it's always something else. So I didn't get to the venue until about 9:50, and we had to be set up and ready to sell by 10:30. So the driver dropped me off at the perfect spot. It was right there. All I had to do was load up my wagon and pull it around, and I was there in my spot. So I got there. I got there late. I don't like getting places late, but I got there late. And as soon as I got there, as soon as I found my spot, I quickly started to set up. The first thing I did was I opened up my tent and they supplied a table and they supply a stool. But I bring my own chair because that stool doesn't have any back support. And I need back support if I'm going to be sitting for a long time. So I quickly opened up my tent, put it up, managed to do it by myself again. I get so excited and I'm so proud of myself when I could put that thing up by myself and not have to ask for help. And I think my confidence in doing it is starting to build more, and the self doubt is really starting to fade. Because when I do something by myself for the first time, my self doubt comes in, and I get all these thoughts of me messing it up and looking like a fool. So when I can put stuff up and put it down by myself and do things by myself and it's with ease, then I'm always proud of myself. I know, it's the little things. So I ended up putting my tent up and then I started to work on my table. And the thing about this market was where it was partly sunny, it was really windy. It was extremely windy, and I was glad that I bought my sandbags with me because I have the weight plates and I also have my sandbag. So I quickly put my weights on as soon as the tent was up. And as I'm assembling my table, the wind is like really like huge gust of wind. It wasn't like like breeze, like it was huge gust of wind. So once my table was set up and I was ready to take customers in, the wind had other thoughts that day. I have now this small table hanging display so that I can hang my diffusers on it, and now I can hang my wax melts up there as well. And I knew the wind was blowing, but I figured if I anchor it in between two heavy things or two things, that it wouldn't knock it over. I was wrong. I was so wrong. One gust of wind came through and it knocked that over. It knocked over my display for my customer favorites. So I didn't talk about it in the other video, but I have a little round display and I put my customers' favorites on there. And I have it for display so that people know that, hey, these are the customer favorites. And the wind knocked over the sign, and the sign ended up knocking over the room spray, the reed diffuser onto the ground. So all my car diffusers that was hanging on there fell to the ground. My display diffuser fell to the ground. And luckily for me, it didn't break. It didn't shatter. So I was like pleased because you could hear the sound of the glass just hitting the ground, and I'm like, and there were people walking by, so they helped to pick it up. Lady was like, I hope nothing broke. And I'm like, me neither. So I'd probably say I had 5 diffusers hanging up there for display. I'd probably say maybe about 2 of them had a small chip to them. And then my diffuser bottle, my display one, it had a piece chipped. So, but liquid's still fine, everything else still fine in it. I was upset about that, but it just made me think, okay, well, I have to do this differently. So I ended up taking the customer favorite display away and I put it back, and then I ended up putting the car diffusers at first on top of the crate that displays the diffusers now. I put them up there, but then I thought, well, the wind, what will stop the wind from knocking them over again? So I ended up arranging them on the table. That way they are at least on the table. They can't really blow away because they're heavy enough to stay put. I thought that was it as far as that goes. But then my sign, my wooden sign that I usually have on the table that has all my pricing, it was sturdy for the most part, but then this one was just extra and it ended up blowing that sign away, well, blowing it down. And that sign ended up going into my room sprays, and my room sprays ended up crashing all over the table. Luckily for me, none of them fell to the ground. They all just fell off of the round display and onto the table. So I said, okay, can't have this sign up either. So I put that sign away. I rearranged the room sprays back onto the display, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just use this part of the table as my checkout, and then this part will be the display of everything else. And hopefully, nothing else falls or breaks or crash. And I wasn't the only one experiencing that. The lady next to me with all her jewelry, she had a bunch of stuff that was just like sitting up on wooden crates and stuff, and the wind throughout the day was just knocking them over, so her jewelry was constantly falling on the ground. The lady across from me, the vendor across from me, one of her hanging plates fell and broke in half, and then the older lady next to me, once it blew her runner off, it just knocked half of her jewelry on the ground. So the wind was really, really attacking us. And then the poor ladies, all the way on the other side of me, on this side here, same side as me, their tent frame collapsed on them. So it was a rough day as far as weather goes for all of us. We were constantly battling the wind, and tents were being moved and shifted, and mine for the most part shifted a little bit, but it held up. But it was so windy, and as frustrated as I was with the wind, because once it knocked over my first display and then my second display, I really just wanted to pack up and leave. But I was like, no, we'll just figure out how to anchor everything down and make it look decent and presentable. So yeah, that was the ordeal with the wind and putting my display up and some of my products breaking. So the market itself, once it got started and all of that with the wind and everything had died down. The wind didn't, but the the nonsense that came from it did. Once that died down, I pretty much was just waiting for people to come by. And I had did Brooklyn Museum before, and there was always, when I did it, there was a good amount of people walking through, but for some reason that day it was very slow. There wasn't a lot of people outside coming through the market, and we ended up sitting there just like waiting. I ended up eating, which I usually don't, but I ended up eating my bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll and drinking my orange juice. And I just sat there and waited for anyone to stop at the table. There was very few people walking in that area. And seeing as it's in front of the museum and it is the weekend, that's when most people go to the museums here in the city. So it was kind of strange to not see a flow of people walking through the aisle, the walkway there. It was very strange not seeing a lot of people. I got my first sale at 12:30 that day, and it was another car bundle. It was my 2 for 20 bundle that I have for the markets now, and I sold it to this lady. She was traveling, so she was trying to figure out how she was going to pack it so that she could take it home with her. It was a slow market. It was a very slow market, a very slow day. It was windy, it was chilly outside, but yeah, this market wasn't it. It really wasn't it. It was very slow. So this is how slow it was that day. So like I said, I got my first sale at 12:30 p.m. I didn't get my second sale until 3 p.m. All right. So now let's get to the part of the video where I talk about the sales that I made and if I made my vendor feedback and all that good stuff. So I have my phone right here, and because I had a cash sale that day, I just added it onto it. So for the day, I had 7 sales, and my gross sales was $115.28. Now, my top seller for the day was actually my car diffusers because I sold 3 car diffusers, actually 4 car diffusers that day. I sold 4 car diffusers, and I sold next was my common spa day 4 ounce candle. And then my room spray, I sold 1 room spray that day. So, yeah. Now, did I make my vendor feedback and my transportation back? No, I did not make my vendor fee or my transportation, and I'll be a little transparent on the vendor fee for this. The vendor fee for this event was $200. All the markets have raised their prices because of different elements in our economy now, so everybody's raising prices. And I did not come close to that at all. My goal that I set for this market was to make 300, and I didn't make my transportation fee back. That probably covered both of my transportations, but it definitely did not cover my vendor fee. So I didn't make that back. I am very disappointed that I didn't make it back. I was expecting to at least make $200 that day, and there just wasn't no people coming through. There wasn't really any foot traffic coming through there. So, yeah, kind of disappointing that I didn't make my goal for this market. So, overall, I would have to say for this day of Brooklyn Museum markets, just this day, I would have to say it was a disappointing day. From the wind being absolutely crazy, the low foot traffic, it just wasn't giving that day. I'll put it like that. It wasn't giving that day. It was a very slow and disappointing market for me. Some of the positives was, of course, speaking to the vendors and then some of the coordinators that were there for the day. Going into the museum, even if it was for a little bit of time, that was fun to go in there, but that's pretty much it. The negatives is the low foot traffic, the weather, the crazy wind that was going on, me breaking some of my products was definitely a negative. That crash really just sunk my heart when I heard it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't have my products. Some of my products are destroyed, but um, luckily for me, it wasn't that bad. It still was some damage to them, but it wasn't that bad. And then the low sales. I was really expecting to make my vendor feedback, but it's okay because it's a hit and miss when you do these markets. So it's not always going to go as planned. But that was a first to have my products. Some of my products get damaged, and me not, especially for a market like this, not making my vendor feedback. So yeah. Now, will I do this market again? I am going to hold off on doing this market again. I did hear from some vendors that it is slowing down significantly over there with that market, and it's some of them have expressed that when it was on Saturday it was a lot better because there was more traffic, there was more flow of people coming through, so they did way better on Saturday. But since they moved it to Sunday, the numbers aren't there as far as the people going, so I think I'm going to hold off on signing up to any more of the ones in front of the Brooklyn Museum. I'm definitely going to continue to sign up to some of their other ones that they have. But yeah, that was me doing Brooklyn Museum Market for the second time. While it was disappointing, I always tend to take something away from the market. I think this was a learning experience for me. I also got a couple of firsts for me. First that I really didn't want to have happen, but it happened, and I was able to think on my feet and rearrange my table so that it works out and for the better. So yeah, this market was definitely one of those that's on the lower end of my list, and as I said, I will be putting this on hold as far as doing them. But I'm excited for the ones that are coming up. And I do have a market coming up on Saturday, and that's another street fair market. And I think I'm going to take the same amount of stuff that I did for the other one because I don't want to take too much, but I want to take just enough so that people have to purchase. So I think I'm going to also shift towards taking less candles and more of the room sprays and the reed diffusers with me because summer is coming, and people, while they'll buy a candle all year round, because I definitely would, the room sprays and the reed diffusers are a nice alternative. So that's something to think about for the upcoming June and July and August markets because those are the hotter months in New York, more humidity. Not looking forward to it, but yeah. But as far as this market goes, yeah, it was a disappointing one. I'm not too hurt about it, but I really wish I would have met that goal. But anyway, I can talk about it on and on and on, but we have done it. It is in the past, and we're moving on to the next market. Now, if you really enjoyed this video, then go ahead and hit that like button and share and comment down below. Let me know what you guys have been up to lately, what markets you've been doing, how is your market season going. Just let me know. Just give me a little insight on what you guys are up to. And if you haven't already, or you're new here and this is your first video that you're watching of mine, hi, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here, as well as hit that notification bell so that you could be notified when the next new video comes out. Now I am going to go ahead and put my fan on because it's a little warm in here and get to editing. But I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, and don't forget to show yourself a little more appreciation. So until next time, this is Tammy saying, take care, everyone.